And this is the Company H position. We will walk along here. And here on the left we have markers for privates, and that's very rare at the battlefield. Most people that have names on their markers are officers. Here is Private Julian Jones. He was actually killed on the fire line and buried at this spot, killed on June 26th. He was actually laying face down, as most of the officers were, or men were, and he was right next to Charles Windolph, who would win the Medal of Honor at this battle. And he was talking to Windolph, and then he got shot through the head. Thomas Metter is actually one of the men that was killed during the Company H attack off to the south. So, don't have documentation of the other gentleman's name that was killed, but Metter was one of them, and he was brought back up here, buried up in this area. Just behind Metter, you see this flat area? And I'll point it out for you. This area here, this area was excavated in 1989. It is called the Reno Benteen Equipment Disposal Site. It's where, after the 7th Cavalry left, anything that they didn't take with them, they brought into this area and they burned. And in 1989, they found a lot of camp equipage down there, a lot of metal artifacts, and excavated the site. So very interesting there. And you can see broken terrain this way. We're still in the Company H position. A lot of broken terrain, so men on this side were exposed by some fire. You can see the Little Bighorn River down here where the trees are. As we look to the east, once again, there's the marker for breechcloth. It's in that general area. There's a dot. There's another dot over this way for another warrior that was killed. That is Dog's Backbone. Now, once again, his marker is inside the park boundary, but he was actually killed back behind the fence, back on this ridge somewhere. He was there on the 26th, and he was there with a whole bunch of young warriors, and they were shooting at the soldiers, standing up and shooting. And Dog's Backbone basically told the warriors, the young warriors, to be careful. The soldiers are good shots, and if you're going to give them a target like that, they're going to kill one of you sooner or later. Well, Dog's Backbone proved this, but not in the way he wanted. He stood up, went to take a shot, and he was hit and killed. So that definitely, that was not the best way to prove a point. And we are still in the Company H position. You can see off to the east here, the ridges are pretty low, and they're close to the soldier positions. So it was kind of hard for the warriors to really attack this side. It's exposed, as you can see there's no trees or anything, so it's hard to get up on the soldiers. The broken ground to the west, the Indians had a little bit better chance, a little bit better advantage moving in. Now we're almost out of the Company H position. We're starting to move into the next position, which is Company A, commanded by Captain Miles Moylan. And here is an interesting site. This is actual entrenchments or rifle pits. And these are not restored, as you can see. Pretty good sized rifle pit. And if I was down underneath, and I was firing at people, you can see Dog's Backbone marker out here. You could, you have a little cover here. This part of the line is really wild. It's really narrow, because if you turn around and just take a couple steps to the west, here's another rifle pit. And once again, you'd be down here fighting the Indians. As you can see, they would have trouble shooting at you, since you have all this dirt mound protecting you, basically. Now we're going to flip around here, continue back east. You can see the rest of Reno Hill here, the northern section. There's the hospital site in the middle. We'll talk about that later. And there's the memorial marker for the 7th Cavalry. Company A held this position. Of course, they're facing east and toward the south, dealing with that ridge way out there, dealing with Dog's Backbone. And I think it's safe to say that this company was leaderless for most of the battle up here on the hill. The reason I say that is testimony from the soldiers pretty much states that Captain Moylan hid under a saddle or behind some saddles for most of the fight and didn't show much leadership abilities or skills. The executive officer from Company A was Charles Camillus de Rudio, and as you recall, he did not hear the order, the retreat order from Reno, and he was left in the timber. So from the 25th, he wasn't even here. He was hiding out in the timber with several other individuals, mainly Fred Gerard and Scout Billy Jackson and some other people, Private O'Neill of Company G. Several men were left in the woods. So they had several harrowing hours and waited until darkness, and then they were able to kind of work their way out, cross the river, and work their way back up here and join their comrades. And once again, we're looking to the south and the east, and we're getting a lot of sun glare, unfortunately. Dog's backbone marker, right where the glare is, unfortunately. There's a little black dot out there. Marble markers are all red, but they look black from a distance. This is where there was a mass grave for Reno Hill, right here. Several bodies were buried there, people that were killed on the fire line around here. And as we continue on, we are now leaving the Company A position. And as you can see, we're moving into the Company D position, commanded by Captain Thomas Benton Weir, one of the officers that actually showed good leadership abilities, and he has a great position to defend. As you can see, there's no ridges in view. You got high ground in front, so the Indians couldn't get close, because if they tried to move up to this ridge, Company A over there, they could be able to fire down into the flank of the Indians. So Company D, Captain Weir's men, had a great position. They really didn't take any casualties. If you look to the north, it's high ground here. You look to the west, you have the hospital site here and the swale, and you have high area up here where the other companies are. Company B is up there on the other side of the line. You know, they're facing west, fighting the Indians toward the river. So Company D has a great spot. Hard to lose guys when the Indians can't even draw their fire on you. And we'll continue up here. This is a long battlefield, as you can see, 180 acres, and walking the perimeter of it is pretty rough. And we continue up, and we're starting to get into see the northern areas north of Reno Hill. You can see Sharpshooter Ridge right in front of us. That's that high area right there. And we'll continue on. Weir Point's still kind of tough to see. We are in a new position now. This is Company G, which normally was commanded by First Lieutenant Donald McIntosh. McIntosh was killed during the retreat, though, and so the company is being commanded by the executive officer, which is Second Lieutenant George Daniel Wallace. Now there is a ridge right out here, and Indians could be back there, but once again they'd probably be taking fire from the Company A position, shooting at them this way. So most likely G was protected pretty well, because there's no ridge after that. It's all low ground after this one little ridge right here. And if we turn around, you can see Sharpshooter Ridge up there in the parking area, and there's the memorial for the 7th Cavalry.